So I just wanted to record a couple of details about this 2015 Model S before it goes on the market. We've got a couple of new Teslas, 2019 models, about to arrive in Brisbane to start some rentals with Tesla-Taxi-Millin. So I just wanted to show you how the Model S 2015, which is almost a 5-year-old model now, drives on autopilot, self-drive, whatever you want to call it. As you can see here, the blue steering wheel means the car's in control, and the blue around the speedo there means it's in cruise control. So I can take it out of auto drive or autopilot just by moving the steering wheel a little bit. As you can see, that's disengaged now, and it's now just on speed control. So just pay attention to make sure I don't miss my exit here. It will do the lane changes if I had it on autopilot, so I'll re-engage that now. And a few of the things that are different between the AP1, Autopilot 1, which is in this car, and the new Autopilot 3, which is in the 2019 cars that we've got arriving next week, is primarily the cameras. So as you can see, this will pick up, you might have just seen a little white mark around the side here to say there's a car getting close. And it will pop up on the screen when it sees in the front camera, so that car popped up onto the screen there once it became viewable from the cameras inside the front of the car with this 2015 model. However, with the 2019 models having 8 cameras all around the car, it can see things like that white car from behind us and as it passes us, blind spots, etc. So it's a much more self-aware system. So this car can never be fully autonomous, can never completely drive without a driver, whereas the 2019 cars with the AP Autopilot Hardware 3 can. And obviously things like what just happened a second ago there would be much better in the 2019 cars, because they've got a computer that's about roughly 100 times faster from memory. I think they went from a AP1 in this car to the next computer of the AP2 computer, which is about a 10 to 20 times increase, and then the AP3 computer is another 20 times what the AP2 computer was. So there's quite a large gamut of difference between a 5-year-old car that I'm driving now and the 2019s that are basically just coming into Australia now. The Model 3, I should say. The Model X that's coming into Australia now was already available in Australia with the AP2 hardware, but the AP3 hardware is obviously in all the new models that are now coming into the country. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea about some of the differences between the autopilot hardware from AP1, AP2 to AP3, and as hopefully you'll be able to have seen some of the car interactions with the traffic here, and hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea about what to expect with the older or the newer models if you are looking at buying one second hand or buying one new. If you want to rent one from Tesla-Taxi.com.au, please jump on in and mention this YouTube presentation, and we'll make sure we fix you up with a discounted membership or something like that. Thanks, I'll speak to you in the next one. Just driving through Brisbane traffic at the moment, so I've got a little bit of time on autopilot. Well, I can... Ooh, watch out for that car. I didn't do anything there, the car's in control. You'll hear the autopilot go off if I intervene. Going off would be doing that sound. Yeah, so basically just wanted to kill some time while I'm waiting in traffic talking about the new Tesla 2019 cars, the Model 3 primarily, that have just come into Australia. So I was lucky enough to catch one at the Brisbane showroom yesterday in Right Hand Drive, a nice white one that I'd seen on a couple of other YouTube reviews recently. Very nice looking car. The only negative thing that I've seen really about the Model 3s is the panel gaps where, you know, a door doesn't line up with the other door completely flawlessly, I've heard. I must say I had a look at this car that apparently that was a big problem for the reviewer, and I honestly did not notice any misalignment of anything. It just looked like a perfect car to me. So I just wanted to sort of put my 2 cents into that conversation. From what I understand, people that have had issues with doors not lining up with other doors or panels or whatever, Tesla has actually fixed that up on request quite quickly. Again, stories from overseas. I haven't actually had any first-hand experience here because the Model 3s have only just arrived in August 2019 here in Australia. We're lucky enough to get the AP3 hardware with all of our Model 3s, which is really nice. So obviously, as you can see here, This car, this 2015 Model S, is doing a pretty good job of self-driving or driving on autopilot without me touching anything. You can see here the little yellow thing saying we're fairly close to the barricade beside us there, but obviously to make sure it keeps its distance, and it will actually swerve out of the way of other cars if you're in someone else's blind spot and they try to merge into you, as has happened to me a couple of times. This car will take action to get out of the way and avoid any minor collisions in that regard. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea about what you can expect from the Tesla Model 3 in 2019 in Australia, and hopefully you've got a bit of a view of Brisbane here and enjoying our lovely traffic. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks. Tesla-Taxi.com.au if you do want to rent anything from a 2015 Model S all the way up to and including the 2019 Model X with AP3 Autopilot 3 hardware, or a range of Model 3s all around Australia. Thanks. Tesla-Taxi.com.au. So just here, killing a bit of time while we're waiting in Brisbane traffic. Just wanted to go over some of the options that you get with purchasing a Tesla. If you are looking at buying something second-hand that's a little bit bigger, this one that I'm currently driving, it's just coming off a rental, and it's going to be available for sale, or it is now available for sale, for about $75,000. That's the ad there if you can see it on screen. It's a 2015 Model S. The ad actually says 2014 because of issues with getting Australian build plate recognition on car sales websites and what have you, but yeah, it's actually January 2015, but basically a 5-year-old car, which is still much more advanced than any other car that's not made by Tesla on the market, in my opinion, and based on experience as well. The $75,000 is basically the same price as the Model 3, so if you want to get a smaller car that's more advanced, obviously you'd buy the Model 3. This Model S, I don't know if you can see in the ad there, but it's a P85, which means that it's only a single motor, because there's no D at the end of that code for dual motor, but it is P for performance, which means that it is a little bit faster than the standard Model S's that were available 5 years ago. The car is particularly nice to drive. I think I'll prefer the Model 3 that we've got on order, just purely for performance. Yeah, so just finishing that video that I was mentioning when I got interrupted by the phone call a moment ago. I was mentioning that I believe that I'll prefer to drive the Model 3 than this Model S. Basically, primarily to do with the autopilot. At the moment, this car drives pretty well in traffic. As you can see, I haven't done anything other than a moment ago when I disengaged the autopilot. It's usually pretty good if cars are going to jump out in front of you and all that sort of thing. I guess just with the extra cameras with the Model 3, I feel like it's going to be more closer to 100% able to manage the driving for me. At the moment, I do still have to, pay a little bit of attention to what I'm actually doing as far as being in control of the car. Whereas, yeah, with the Autopilot 3 hardware and the upgraded software with the Model 3, I think it's just going to be more a bit. I drive about an hour each way to and from work each day, so I just think that, yeah, having that extra capability of self-driving in the car is going to be worth the trade-off for having the slightly bigger car of the Model S. So that's going back to what I was saying before about this being for sale for about the same price as the Model 3. I think the Model 3 is still going to suit my lifestyle better, just with that hour of driving, because again, I just want to be able to kick back and relax and not have to actually pay too much attention while the car's driving me to and from work. So those are the main differences. As far as the actual Model 3 that I'm talking about, just see if this slows down, should be good. So in Australia, I don't know if you can see that there, the all-wheel drive model can be configured with up to 620 kilometres of range and up to 3.4 seconds 0 to 100 acceleration. I think those two facts on screen are actually slightly contradictory, in as much as you've got to get the second top model to actually have the to have the 620 kilometre range, whereas you get the top model with performance to get the 3.4 second acceleration, but that does actually cut back your range because it doesn't have the aerodynamic wheels on the performance version. It's got a 20-inch wheel set, so I guess you'd sort of have to buy the performance version and then make changes to actually get what it says on Tesla's website there. So I guess that's something that either is or isn't meant to kind of be representing all those facts. So I guess we'd have to speak to them more about whether that's something that should have more clarification. But yeah, the point is, the Model 3 I think is definitely the smart move as far as buying a Tesla for new for 70 to 100,000. As I said, second hand for 70,000, a 5-year-old Model S is definitely a really good buy if if you're more of a person that wants to drive themselves most of the time as opposed to letting the car drive for them. But again, for my lifestyle, I want to make sure that the car can do pretty much all the driving, and then obviously once the Model 3s do have full level 4, level 5 autonomy, then of course I'll probably be letting my cars go out and actually drive for Tesla as a taxi service, and actually make money from the cars that way. So that's kind of the long-term plan. I don't expect that to happen before about 2024 in Australia, but obviously if I buy excuse me, a second-hand Model S, then I don't ever have that option, whereas I do with any of the 2019 Model 3 or the Model X that I've got on order. Should all be able to do that full autonomous driving within the car's lifetime, because the car's theoretically run for about 1.6 million kilometres, about 8 to 10 times longer than a normal ICE car is capable of, or typically stays on the road for. I just disengaged there just because I felt it was pulling slightly to the right a bit more than I wanted to be in that particular intersection, but it wasn't in danger of hitting anything. I was just wanted to be ultra cautious, because obviously recording a video, if you had an accident at the same time, probably wouldn't look so great. So that'll do for this video, but I'll catch you on the next one. And don't forget, if you do want to try one out, Tesla-Taxi.com.au for some very good rental rates on the Tesla fleet in Australia. Thanks, speak to you later. Alright, so just driving out in the Ipswich direction in Brisbane. Just wanted to show you the video that I took of the first right-hand drive Model 3 that I've ever seen. This was yesterday in Brisbane. Excuse me. That was mid-August 2019. This is the video here, so hopefully you can see that alright. Just walking around the car. This was actually a car that you'll notice by number plate was reviewed recently for an Australian Tesla car an Australian car reviewer reviewing this Tesla, and he thought that there was terrible panel gap issues, and said I had a look at the same car a few days after he had it, and I certainly couldn't see anything that would stop me from buying the car. But yeah, I just want to sort of give you my opinion on that. As I said, it's great to see the right-hand drive in the flesh finally, and yeah, we'll make some more videos with the cars. We should have our cars for Tesla-Taxi.com.au delivered for our rentals in Brisbane very shortly, so as soon as we've got those here, we'll post some new content on that. Please keep us in mind if you do want to have a Tesla experience by renting it for a day or a few days in Brisbane. We also have cars available for rent in Sydney, Melbourne and Canberra as well, so there are all basically cars that are owned by people that have joined up with our group to allow other people to rent their cars. We've got promos from $99 a day, which is pretty competitive with what you can get for any sort of performance car, even just from Avis or any of those sorts of car hire places. But yeah, hopefully you can let us know if there's anything we can do to improve the availability of these cars in Australia. Thank you. Tesla-Taxi.com.au. Cheers.